Donato.
So I'd like to call the Tuesday, August 18th, 2026 meeting of the Narragansett Planning Board in order. Heidi, would you please call the roll?
Here. Here. No worries. Here.
Absent with cause. Here. Thank you. First order of business will be if there are, I don't have any administrative matters. Jill, do you have any that need to be announced at this point in time?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. The next order of business would be the approval of minutes. There are a set of two. July 21st is not, right, okay. So I have the approval of the minutes for June 8th and June 16th. Are there any suggested changes?
I'd make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion for the 8th and the 16th is approved. Do we need a motion to hold the 21st to the next meeting? Or just? Yes. Okay, so we'll continue, motion to continue B3.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to site reviews. C1, Hanlon, Plat NS Lot 589304, Colonel Gardner Road. I see Mr. Surratt is here. Is that correct? Yes. All right, so just for some background for, I guess, those who are watching at home. This is an application that requests the demolition of an existing side yard shed and to construct in its place a cabana with an associated plunge pool and stone patio. The project requires a variance and a special use permit from the Coastal Resources Overlay District, Section 4.4. This project also requires a variance from the Dimensional Regulations, Section 6.4. The proposed improvements are a demolition of the existing shed, construction of a 9-foot by 19-foot driveway expansion, construction of a 15-foot by 22-foot cabana, and a 7-foot by 13-foot plunge pool with an associated 18-foot by 22-foot stone patio. Proposed building coverage, lot coverage, would be approximately 3,000, almost 4,000 square feet, 13.3% compared to 12% as it currently stands. Project does not comply with the dimensional regulations of Section 6.4 because the right side yard setback proposed is 12 feet 8 inches, where 24 inches is required. RIDEM has issued a permit for a 4-bedroom OWTS system for the property. Property serviced by Viola Water. Property is also located, the existing dwelling and all proposed construction is located outside the special flood hazard area. And the future land use designation for this property is residential high to moderate density. The project as proposed appears to comply with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. You're on.
Is that on?
Is your microphone on?
The green light.
Oh, the green,
There
it's
we
a green
go.
light. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Attorney Stephen Surdit for the applicant with an office at 585 Kingstown Road in Wakefield. Thank you for your chairman, Mr. Summary. Thank you for your summary, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is looking to improve the property, replace a shed with a cabana. That cabana will have no living accommodations in it, nor is it intended in any way to be living accommodations. It is a true pool cabana, as you can see. The applicant is looking to put in a relatively modest-sized pool. One of the reasons that the cabana is proposed in its current location is that there's an existing structure there, as well as the fact that a number of the neighbors on the inland side of the street look over my client's property, over the center of the property, and they want to preserve as much of the existing viewscape, light, and access to that as your regulations propose. So the goal of the applicant is to improve the property, add some outside space as they move into the property for full-time living. The family has actually owned the property. My client is the second-generation owner. His father purchased the property back in '92, and he's been coming here with his family ever since. He's since retired and is looking to make this his full-time residence and improve it in such a way that he can have his children and his now emerging grandchildren come to the house. They can recreate, and while they're very close to Narragansett Bay, as many of you know, there's a very steep cliff, and it's difficult to access the water, so they'd like to be able to have a swimming pool. So that said, I'd be happy to take any questions the board has.
Chip?
My only question was, has anyone approached the Nicolelli family? As
Yes.
A bit of a, I'm not going to call it really it's an intensification, but it's a very moderate intensification.
My client has advised me that he's spoken to as many of the neighbors as they can over the last few weeks, and no one's voiced any objections. Obviously, I'll send out formal letters as we move to the zoning board, but we don't anticipate any problems, and we've spoken to the person. I'm advised that the applicant has spoken to the person directly behind the property, whose viewscape might be most impacted by it.
Okay, and you also stated, I know it's a very small building, there's no living or sanitary facilities or anything inside the building?
No, it's a true pool cabana. Okay. If we were going to do that, we'd come looking for an ADU, but we're not. They're looking for a pool cabana.
Okay, thank you.
Steve?
Hi, Steve. I didn't see whether or not the pavers were pervious or not.
I think
Just
that they
wondering.
would be counted as non-pervious. That's why the lot coverage is going to increase.
That's what I figured. Okay. That was really my only question. You're not increasing, you're not getting any closer to the lot lines, the side lines, so.
Nope.
I'm satisfied.
Doc?
Yeah, the pervious thing you already just answered. Now you're going to have a pool there. Before you didn't need light. Have you already thought about the light reflection in terms of that neighbor? Is that going to be
I know
controlled?
that my clients will take that into account. It's something that we'll adapt to. We don't show any above-ground lighting, so I'm sure
Uh-huh.
there might be some in-pool lighting, but
Yeah.
we'll make sure that it's modest and that it doesn't impact the neighbors.
Yeah, and I think you showed, can you go back to the picture of the landscaping around the pool?
Yes.
You would? Yeah, in terms of trying to mitigate noise, because before, what you had was storage, whatever. And, but now you have sort of a play area. So, again, this neighbor right here,
Yep.
it's a different setup. So, as you said, they'll be probably at the zoning board to talk a little more about it. But there are, as you know, there are ways of mitigating the noise
Yes, and
through
that's
this
why we're
area, you know.
that's why we're proposing to add those trees.
Yeah,
And a goal would be to mitigate noise. And my client, if there was a noise problem in the future, he would have no problem putting in another set of trees or a stockade fence or working with his neighbor to assure that everyone gets to use and
Yeah.
enjoy their property.
yeah, yeah. Okay, those are the things that I've questioned, yeah.
What's that? I have no additional questions to those that have been asked. So with that, I take a motion to, for a finding with respect to whether the application is complete.
I would make a motion that the application is complete
And consistent with this, and consistent with the comp plan?
and consistent with the comp plan.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then I'll take a motion with respect to the application itself.
I would make a motion to move the application favorably, finding that it is consistent with the comp plan policy LU 1.1, LU 2.2, LU 2.3, and NR 1.1. And with that, I would add the consideration of the conditions 1 through 7 that were listed in our package. And do we have to make the findings in section 18.5 as well with this? for the recommendation?
You certainly can, Mr. Rooney.
Okay, then I find that it is consistent and compatible with the 16 findings listed under 18.5.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 4-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman,
So
members of
long.
the board. Have a nice evening.
Good luck.
Aye.
Moving on. Looking at the project summary for 2 Floors Up LLC, Tax Assessor's Plat N, Lot 176, 98 Sand Hill Cove Road. The applicant is submitting a request to permit 1 additional bedroom located on the lowest level of the existing dwelling, resulting in a total of 5 bedrooms at the above-mentioned property. Project requires a special use permit for homes exceeding 4 bedrooms. Project lies within the Coastal Resources Overlay District. The project is also located within the special flood hazard area. I think this is pretty straightforward, so why don't you go ahead, Ms. Krikorian.
Good evening.
Thank
Thank you for the summary, Mr. Chairman. My name is Laura Krikorian. I am with Laura Krikorian Architect. I'm here tonight for 2 Floors Up. Kathy Horst is the owner of the property, and she has owned the property for about 3 years. The house is under renovation right now, where we do have a permit for a lot of the items that were listed on the site plan. If you were reviewing the plan, it might have said things like remove second floor here and add new squared out bump out, rebuild front porch, add second floor to the garage. All of that we do have a building permit for right now, and we are under construction. We got all of our coastal resources permits. We got all of our DEM permits, so we do have permission for a lot of the things that are on the site plan. The only thing we're asking for tonight is to add the 1 additional bedroom, which is actually already an office space if you look at the floor plans. And I did get a note from the planning department asking for an updated site plan, which I certainly, I've already reached out to Mark Dowdell to take some of those notes off the plan so that it's more clear what we're actually asking for. So I will be,
Thank you.
so on this floor plan that's up on the screen, you can see that there is no door on the space that's highlighted in yellow. It is an office space. And when we were planning the project, Kathy actually wasn't really sure. She hadn't owned the property very long. She wasn't sure how much her family was going to want to come and visit her here. So, and she does do a lot of work from home. So that space was an important space. It does have the hallway between it and the main living space, so she felt it would be private enough for her to be able to work there. But since she's owned the house longer now, she is finding that everyone wants to come visit, and she does have children and a family and friends. So she's hoping to be able to put a door on that space in order to be able to use it as an overflow bedroom at times when she needs it. So that's the reason why we are here tonight. There clearly are 4 bedrooms in the house plus this space. We're not adding anything additional to the house to create this space. It is already there. So we're just asking tonight to be able to put a door on it. It will still have a patio door directly out to the deck, and that is the house under construction. So in terms of the development standards for the homes exceeding 4 bedrooms, the site does, and the project initially, when we submitted for the permit for all of the renovations, we did meet all of the zoning requirements. We met all of the building code requirements, so we do meet item number 1. It is a single-family residence and will remain that way even with this additional bedroom, so we meet number 2. And this lot is a 35,478 square foot lot. So she does have also the driveway for parking located on the site plan that you could see. I think it's 3,500 square feet plus. It's listed Yeah, over to the right, it says existing paved driveway, 3,206 square feet, so 3,200 square feet. And there are also 2 oversized parking spaces in the garage that will remain. So she meets 2 of her parking spaces in the garage and then has an additional 3,200 square feet of parking to be able to meet the parking requirements for the 5 bedrooms. And items 4 and 5 in the 12.23 development standards don't apply here because she is more than a 20,000 square foot lot. So she's not subject to the floor area ratio or the hardscape, softscape requirements. But there is an awful lot of green growth and buffer all the way around the lot, and she will be maintaining that. So, so that will all remain in place. With that information, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Jim?
Well, first, I would thank you for coming in for this, because I think 99% of the time, someone would simply add the door after the fact. I think it could be used in the same manner with, without the door, so I really don't see an issue with the lot's significant enough. It has parking. I just don't see any issues.
I can't agree any more with what my colleague just said. I was going to say the exact same thing.
Doc?
Yeah, I asked staff, there's got to be a reason. Why is this before us? It's pretty obvious.
Sure. Mr. O'Neill, they're here before us asking for a special use permit. It's a requirement for residential lots that are located in R10 or R20 zone.
Okay. Okay.
I have no further questions. So with that, I'll take a motion to make a determination whether the application is complete and consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that the application is complete and compliant with the comprehensive plan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, I'll take a motion on the application itself.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion, then, favorable motion on this application, that it is compliant with policies LU 1.1, LU 2.2, LU 2.8, and policy H 1.4. And I also would find favorably with the 16 findings listed in section 18.5 of the zoning ordinance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I ask staff again to explain that a little bit better? Excuse me, Jill, so it's still, even if people meet all the criteria, as this case just did, they still have to pass through this board and the zoning board?
Yes.
That's required, okay. All right, okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on. Our next site plan review is project summary for Ferretta. That's pronounced right, Ferretta? Ferrata. Is it Ferretta or Ferrata or something? Ferrata? Okay. Tax assessors plat NS Lot 469. Its location is 48 Leonard Bodwell Road. The applicant is requesting an approval to construct a 2-story addition above the existing garage with an associated left side yard stairway and a 2nd-story deck connection to the main dwelling at the above referenced property. This project requires a variance from the dimensional regulations, section 6.4. The existing conditions are, this is a lot of approximately 6,426 square feet, located in an R20 zone. The existing building and lot coverage is approximately 1,390 square feet, or 21.6%. The proposed improvements are to construct an 8-foot by 11-foot 2-story addition above the existing garage with an associated 4-foot by 16-foot left side yard stairway and a 4-foot by 16-foot 2nd-story deck connection to the main dwelling. The The proposed building lot coverage will be approximately 1,575 square feet, or 24.5%. The project does not comply with the dimensional regulations of Section 6.4 for a substandard lot of record, as the left side yard setback proposed is 1 foot. I always get this a little confused. Is this 1 foot 1 inch or 1.1 foot? Is this 1 foot 1 inch, or is this 1.1 foot?
I'm sorry, Mr. Callahan, are you asking for the,
On
Relief?
on B, yes.
on,
The left yard, so, I'm sorry, on the front page, under
Yep.
the capitalized letters. So this left side yard setback proposed is 1.1 foot or
Yep.
1.1 inch?
1.1 foot, or 1 foot 1 inch?
That's 1 foot,
No, sorry, 1 point, yeah,
that's what I thought.
it's in feet.
Okay, all right. Does anyone know how many inches that is?
1.2.
Okay, got it. Um, Okay, so the relief requested is 5.2 feet. We'll figure out the inches later. Left side yard setback variance. Mr. Marcella?
Yep, thank you, Stephen Marcella. I am Mr. Zangari. Could not be here tonight. He had a meeting in Richmond, so I am subbing for him tonight. However, given the fact that I do live in Bonnet Shores, I'm pretty familiar with the property, so I guess I was the best person to stand in tonight. So Chris and I represent Nadine Ferrata. She owns this two-bedroom dwelling on Leonard Bodwell in Bonnet Shores. If anyone has gone by the property, it's a modest home on a lot on Leonard Bodwell, basically parallel with Colonel John Gardner. Nadine, she occupies the property part-time. She's retired, and she wants to put this addition above the garage, as she does photography. She wants a photography studio, and she does additional quilting, so she's looking for some additional square footage to the home, and that's the reason for the garage. I'll have Amy come up and explain the site plan. However, there's two types of dimensional relief. One is a small dimensional relief for the garage itself. They're holding the setback. Some cities and towns require an applicant to ask for relief even if you hold the setbacks. Others do not, but that request was in Amy's application. And the second type of relief is for the side stairway. As you'll hear, the reason for the stairway being on the left side rather than being in the back is twofold. One is all the mechanicals for the home and, again, for the addition are to the back of the garage. What you're looking for is, what you're looking at here is the second floor plans. You'll see that the lavatory, so if you see the first floor, all the mechanicals, you'll see the utilities are at the back of the garage. So that way, according to the architect, who also couldn't be here tonight, it is much easier, more economical to place all the utilities in the second floor to the back of the garage, which necessitates the stairway being on the side of the garage. Additionally, the reason for the second stairway, although I believe not necessary for egress, is that if you look at the second floor, if anyone else or any guest wanted to come into the studio, they would have to go up to the second floor internally within the house, walk through the master bedroom, across the deck into the studio. So it does provide both the second means of egress and also, obviously, for any guests, they don't have to walk through Nadine's a little bit more, and the reason for the relief.
Hi. So as Steve said, the garage is continuing 8
You
feet.
have to identify yourself.
I suppose. Amy Sonder, Easterbrooks and Associates. North Kingstown now, Saunderstown. Representing the survey plan and components of the site plan. As I was saying, the garage, you can see it's on a slight angle, so we could jog the house and maintain the setback, but that didn't work. So continuing the house, garage, the 8 feet, it brings us just that much closer, a little bit closer, 0.4, which is, you know, a quarter of a foot, pretty much, so. And the steps are to be set back 1.1 feet, so 1 foot, 0.8 inches. And we provided stormwater management, comply with all of the other components, and coverage, all the other setbacks, rear, front, and FAR as required, plus hardscape. If you look at the table on the side, all of the other criteria are conforming, with the exception of the stairway setback and the front left corner of the garage. Yeah, if the garage was made parallel to the property line, we would have been fine. Unfortunately, it is not. Any questions on that?
Jim, you want to start?
I don't really have a problem with the small amount of relief for the garage. I do have a concern with the stairs, because we just went through all of the work and testimony from people that know more about fire rescue than myself, about the need for space and the need for that setback. So I have a hard time getting past the brand-new minimum ordinance that only went in effect a very short time ago, days or weeks ago, for the stairs. I think it might be something where you could get there, but you're going to have to, at least for me, to be comfortable, configure something. 1.1 feet is not enough for emergency personnel to get around. It's barely enough. I don't even know if you can maintain it within that 1.1 foot, and whether there's a fence there now or a future landowner could put a fence up, it
Right.
becomes a difficult thing, and that's what I heard in all of.
It is a low fence. I think it's only 4 foot on that section
Yeah,
there.
but we don't know what's going to happen with the abutting property in the
Right.
future. They would have every right to put up a hedgerow or a fence, and we just passed the brand-new Chapter 1154, Section 1, 6.5B, which requires no less than 5 foot ever. So,
Something for us to think about.
Steve? Oh, excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah, and
Do you want to,
to
do you want?
assist, yeah, if Ms. Farada
Sure.
can come up. Go ahead.
Just want to add a couple things that might paint a little bit different picture. So on the,
Could you identify, for the record?
right, as you're facing
Excuse
the
me.
garage.
Excuse me, for the record.
Oh, I'm Nadine Farada, sorry. As you're facing the garage, which was an existing garage, the garage is much smaller than that. I rehabbed that house in like 2017, 2018. I grew up in a cape like this, and I kind of wanted to keep the cape, you know, instead of knocking it down and start all over again. So it's reminiscent of a house that I grew up in Connecticut. So I do a lot of design work and rehab work in Chicago. Primarily, that's kind of my job in real estate. So the scale-wise, the garage is just super small, but at the time, we spent a lot of money on the house. I didn't have a chance to kind of incorporate the garage at the time, but now I'm kind of ready to do it, saving my pennies. When you are on the right side of the garage, there's a gate there, but it's completely open. You can get to the back of the garage. You don't have to go there at all. You don't ever have to access that. That's just for the trash cans. So that whole thing is completely open. So there's no way, there's nothing stopping a fireman or whatever to get to the back of the garage. And that's I think it's 5 feet and 6 feet in one spot. So it's pretty wide between, you know, the opening between the garage. So even though the stairs are there, and I was told that I had to have stairs for access and egress, And that was the only place really to put them. That was like kind of backed into that, obviously. So,
So
yeah.
if you could just, oh, excuse me, if you could just go to the site plan, the second floor. So, yep, that one. So what?
That's completely
what
open.
Nadine Ms. Farad is talking about is the space between the garage and the house.
Yeah, there's no way, there's plenty of room. I mean, it's super wide. So they don't have to go deal with that at all. They can get to the back of the house, the back of the garage, everything. Pretty easy. So that's kind of, we talked through that at some point, so that's kind of was, again, our only option for the stairs at the time, so.
It still doesn't get us over the hurdle of the requirement of the 5 foot on the side. It may be a matter of looking at the design and seeing what you can do with the design to bring the staircase down, either in the back or on the side.
Yeah, I can't,
And again, our architect's not here tonight. We can certainly have a brief conversation with Ms. Farada on that to potentially redesign that. But I guess we would first like to hear from everyone on the board to see any other concerns that you may have.
Anything else, Jim? No? Steve?
Hi.
hi.
So
David?
I had a similar thought when I first looked at the site plan. But after being out there, I can see that you actually have an existing fence where that staircase is going to go.
Yeah,
So you're not going to get a fireman next to that garage anyway, the existing garage. They're not going to go that way. They're going to go between the house and the garage.
they're going to have to go.
So I measured on the plan, it is a minimum of 5 feet, so you have 5 feet of clearance. And the newly passed legislation that we have also has in it that you can seek a zoning variance, which you're doing. So while I don't generally love people building within 1.5 feet of the side yard setback,
Yeah.
I see why you did it. You have a leach field in the back, you have mechanicals in the back, you have a bathroom in the back of this thing. It's not a great place to put a staircase, and I don't know if I'd want a staircase between the house and the garage. It's just gonna make it harder for police and fire to get to the backyard to access the house. You have a staircase to access the second floor of the garage, so I'm not worried about them trying to access that side of the garage. They'll go up the stairs. So while I don't generally approve of tight quarters on the side yard setbacks, I think you're doing what you can with the space you have. And aside from knocking everything down and putting the garage directly against the house, I think it's an inventive use of space. And like I said, you already don't have access on that side. So as long as you keep the access through the middle, maybe when you go to the zoning board, you think about that gate that you have there. Maybe that could be removed. I don't know if you have a dog that you keep in the backyard or something, but that would maybe go a little ways to assuage their fears.
It's not locked, the gate is
Fair,
not
well,
locked.
that-
It's just
now
for my
it's
little
not
dog.
locked, but you know what
Yeah.
happens. Somebody eventually maybe puts a lock on it. So that'd be an easy way to say, hey, look, I got 5 feet of access. You can get back there.
Yeah.
So those were the only thoughts I had on it, though.
Okay.
I think it's on, yeah. Well, I'm a pessimist, and I tell everybody I've spent 50 years trying to prevent tragedy. The fact that I'm not an architect, I have a daughter who is, but I'm not. Stairway access can be moved. The fact that there's a 1 foot or 1.1 whatever foot on that property line is too narrow because we have an opportunity to prevent that. That's the reason. However you prevent it, that's up to you people. But the idea that the firemen or firewomen can run through the middle there assumes there's no fire right there. And somebody's not screaming from the top area to try to get out. I just think that it makes no, to me, we have opportunity. You're obviously creative people. The stairway doesn't have to be there. It can be elsewhere. Another way to access that area. So I can't support what you're, I understand what you're trying to do, but I can't support it. I can't. And the business of, the neighbor, and there's no chain link fence today, there's no stone wall, yeah, that's today. But that 1 foot, maybe even smaller in the future. So I can't support what you're doing because obviously it's not mandatory that you do it and mandatory that you do it this way. That's my opinion.
I am, I think Steve's thought about the creative approach to the middle piece here is an interesting approach. Having been through what we've been through over the course of the last several months in terms of whether or not there would be a minimum 5-yard setback, I'm inclined to support retaining retaining the 5-yard setback on this and finding a different way for those stairs to work. Understand what Steve said, but I think the 5-yard setback in this particular instance needs to stay.
Does they have, I don't know what happens next. Okay, sorry.
Can you just give us 1 second? Sure. Great, thank you. Given the design at this point, Ms. Farad has put a lot of time and effort into this. We would ask if the board would take 2 separate votes. One vote for the continuation of any relief needed for the garage structure, and a second one for the stairs. Given the fact that they're really kind of, 2 separate asks for relief.
Can do that. I think we can do that. I don't have an objection to that.
Yes, you can do that.
Mr. Marcello, would you just remind me again, is the request for relief on the back of the garage simply to hold the existing line? Is that what it is?
Correct.
Right, that's what I thought. Okay, very good.
Again, some places you don't even have to ask for that.
Okay, so could I have first a motion for both completeness and consistency with the plan?
Just a question first. I want to make sure that there's no requirement for these stairs by code that there's adequate egress windows. We don't need egress windows if it's not a bedroom. Is that correct?
So I didn't ask the building official about the egress windows, Mr. Grundy, but we did confirm that the stairs are not required
Okay.
because it's not being used as a bedroom and there's another form of egress.
Okay, thank you. So I would make a motion that the application is complete and compliant with the comp plan as it relates to, because we're taking these each separate, this would be for the variance for the side yard setback as it relates only to the garage structure.
So is that, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking, is that related to the stairs or is that holding the back? Jim?
That would just be for the relief on the, for the corner of the garage on the addition, would be the first motion.
I'm sorry, for the what?
The first motion would be only for the relief for the corner of the garage.
The corner, okay.
Of the
Yep.
proposed addition.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, is your first motion completeness and conformance?
He's split this into 2, that's what
So
he's
you're going to
doing
do
right now.
completeness and conformance
On
twice?
each
Twice,
one.
that's correct.
Understood, thank
Yep.
you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Just for the record, the additional, this relief of the building is actually the front of the garage. The rear of the garage is compliant. We have a required setback. I'd just like to ask staff if I've got this right. Side yard setback of 6.43 feet. And according to the plan here, that front corner is proposed at 5 feet, so it would be a relief of 1.43 feet. I don't know if we need that for the motion, but I just wanted to make sure we got some numbers in there, so they don't come back at, something else.
So do you want to add that to the motion, Steve?
Sure. If we could add that the relief requested for the main building is 1.43 feet on the side yard, that'd be nice.
You finished your motion, Mr. Chairman, you finished your motion for complete conformance, correct, for just a garage?
Just the motion, yes.
Yeah.
We didn't take the vote yet.
Yeah, we haven't
Okay,
voted yet.
that makes sense.
And Steve, your point is, go ahead.
I would just like to amend that motion to have the actual relief requested of that building is 1.43 feet.
Mr.
Of relief.
DeSimone, that will be part of your next motion to
Sorry.
approve, to either recommend approval or denial.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
Then never mind, I retract.
Is there a second for Jim's motion?
I already seconded it.
All right, you're right, you did what you wanted to do amended, you're right.
Second, third.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No.
You're opposed, Doc?
Yep.
Okay, 3-1. Okay, and then moving on to the second motion, Jim?
Do you want to do the motion for that relief?
Yes.
Before we do the, okay,
Yeah, why don't
so
we
the
do that?
the motion, as it relates to the 1.43 feet of relief for the proposed addition only, would be that it is consistent with the comp plan policy LU 1.1 and policy LU 2.2, and it's in accordance with the 16 findings of section 18.5 of the zoning ordinance.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion, Doc, on the motion?
You need a second on the motion?
No, we got a second. The question is there any further discussion on the motion?
Further discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed what you said.
Oh, okay. Okay, being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
3-1 on that one. Now, with respect to the stairs.
Okay. So as it relates to the stairs, I would make a motion that it is complete and compliant with the comprehensive plan.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. 3-1. And then with respect to the motion, with the, to the substance of the motion itself.
I would make a motion that the, it would be a negative opinion as it relates to the relief related to the staircase, reducing the total offset to 1.1 feet. I feel that it violates Chapter 1154, Section 1, 6.5B of our regulations, and I haven't seen any evidence that other options have been considered, so I don't believe it's necessarily the least relief possible.
Is there a second? I'll second that motion if no one else will. Discussion. Any further discussion?
I still don't think it's in violation of that code, because the code says in it they can seek relief through a zoning variance, and that's what they're here to do.
Further discussion?
Negative. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm going to call for the motion. All in favor of Jim's motion, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Nay.
Okay.
Nay. However you want to say. You and I. Nay. Yeah.
Okay. So there's 3 in favor, 1 against. Steve? Mr. Marcella, do you have anything further? No. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Yep, thank you.
Amy owed me a letter.
Okay. Moving on. Our next Our next project summary is San Martino Tax Assessor's Plat N-S, Lot 400, 0 Treasure Road. The applicant is submitting a request to construct a single-family dwelling with an attached two-car garage, a front yard covered porch, a rear yard partially covered deck and covered porch, an outdoor shower, impervious driveway at the above referenced property. The project requires variances from the dimensional regulation, section 6.4. Lot 400 is approximately 9,900 square feet in size, is located in an R20 zoning district, and is currently vacant. Proposed improvements are the construction of a 45-foot by 70-foot irregularly shaped single-family dwelling with an attached two-car garage, a 19-foot by 42-foot front yard covered porch, a 15-foot by 39-foot rear yard partially covered deck, a 4-foot by 8-foot outdoor shower, and a 35-foot by 35-foot pervious driveway. The building lot coverage will be approximately 4,016 feet, or 40.2%. The project does not comply with the dimensional regulations of section 6.4 for a substandard lot as the lot coverage proposed at 40.2% is 12.2% more than the 30% maximum permitted. The floor area ratio is 0.35 or 3,544 square feet versus 0.31 or 3,097 square feet for the maximum permitted. The proposed hardscape is 54% versus the 35% maximum permitted. And the building height is 34 feet, 6 inches, 30 feet is the maximum permitted. Does not comply with the Lot 4 does not currently have a sanitary sewer connection available. The proposed parking areas do comply with section 7.9. The project as proposed appears to comply with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. So the relief requested under 6.4 is 4 feet 6 inches in building height variance, 10.2% or 1,019 square foot for lot coverage variance, 0.04 or 447 square foot floor area ratio variance, and a 19% hardscape variance. Mr. McGreen.
Thank you, Mr.
Good
Chairman.
evening.
Jack McGreen for the applicant, Rocco San Martino. I also have with me his daughter Elizabeth and his son-in-law, who happen to be architects, so they'll be going through the plans with you this evening. The property's a vacant lot. It's located on Treasure Road and identified as Plat NS Lot 400. As you said, it's in an R20 zone, but it only contains 9,900 square feet. They are proposing to construct a 45 by 70-foot single-family dwelling with a rear deck and a two-car garage. We're seeking variance under 6.4 to construct a modest single-family dwelling with the standard residential amenities. I brought some pictures here I thought would be helpful. I'm not sure if we had these loaded up, but I took a picture before I came here this evening. This is just
Thank you.
I think the angle gives a pretty good shot on the topography of the lot. You'll see there's a hill there. So the reason why we're seeking the height relief, and actually we would have been able to do this via a modification. I think we were short by 0.1. A modification would have been 34.5. We're looking for 34.6. But the reason why the height was a factor was because, as you know, you go by the 4 points and you take the average, and since this is kind of, you see it sloping down off Treasure Road, that's what made them need to ask for that relief. The good news is we're not looking for any setback relief. We meet the fronts, we meet the sides, we meet the rear. Because of the constrained size of the lot, obviously we're looking for the relief on the lot coverage in the hardscape. With that being said, I think I'll just bring up the co-architects. Both coming up or just one? I don't think either one of them are getting paid, but that's beside the point. If you could just walk them through the plans and just show them. Here's a pointer here, too. There you go.
Hi, good evening. My name is Grant Billings. principal at Peak Architects.
I'm Elizabeth Sammartino.
Just gonna make this a little taller here. So we're just gonna run through the first floor plan where we have, along the front here is a front porch that wraps the front of the elevation, which we could look at in a moment. Then there's the entry with a foyer. There's a primary bedroom on the first floor. The intention is for the owner and client to age in place here. This is meant to be kind of his final house, and so having it be on the first floor living is an important part to this project. So you have the primary bedroom to the front of the house. Moving back, you then have the living room, dining room, and kitchen as a kind of central connected space. Off there, you both have an uncovered deck and covered. So those are adjacent to each other, but both covered and uncovered off the back. And then to the right, you have a series of closets and pantry, along with a den, which just has a cased opening. So that's, I think there was a comment within the staff report showing or around that den, but that's just meant to be an opening, not enclosed or potentially a bedroom, and then laundry to the upper right-hand part of the plan. We then also have, we also have the garage, which is just oversized slightly to accommodate any bins or kind of, basically to allow for trash bins to be inside the garage. Next plan. So then we make our way upstairs through this central stair up to this vaulted lounge space. Down the hallway, we then have a bedroom, or rather 2 bedrooms off the back with a shared balcony, and then a half bath, or rather a hall bath and a guest bath on either side of those bedrooms. There was, we can acknowledge this, this unfinished storage was a comment also within the report. We would definitely, we're not expecting this to be a bedroom. We could consider it an office with a transparency door and no expectation there to be used as a bedroom with no closet, would kind of be open to making sure that's not considered a bedroom in whatever fashion that's needed. I would note, and we can talk about this a little more, this attic space is only meant to be there for mechanical. It's not meant to be accessible or finished in a way that really should be considered as part of the FAR. It currently right now is in the current calculations, and so that'd be a potential opportunity where we would reduce our FAR depending on the use and the considered use of that space. The other picture I brought, in general, but I did just take a look at the houses in the area, and I took a look at the house right next door, and that house is, I think that's around 3,500 square feet. So certainly this house, it's 3544, I believe, and that's the lot right in the middle. It's it's about the same size as all the other lots in the area, and the house to its right is about the size that they're thinking about building. And I think it fits within the surrounding areas and doesn't, it's not going to stick out like a huge house. I would note, I would add, Jack, that from the front elevation, the street level, it's only reads as a 27 or 26 or 26 and a half. The rendering. Not sure if that made it into the presentation, but yeah, it reads as really a single story with a set of dormers in the roof. And so that's what kind of jumped out at me too. Yeah, if you look at the rendering, again, probably because of the topography of the land, it drops off, so it really presents itself pretty small as you're looking at the house from the front.
Does it drop off from front to back?
Yeah, front to back, it's about almost 10 feet from Treasure down to the back property line.
And does it continue to drop off for below the property line out towards Mayberry?
Or no, Bayberry. I'm not sure about the topography of our neighbors to the west.
They're doing it.
Yeah, we'd be happy to.
I don't think so.
You got,
The average now.
But the maximum building height is 26, 11, 3/4. But that's off the average. There's the average elevation. They're asking for the relief to the top of the chimney.
that possibly someday could convert it to maybe an ADU so that it could remain in place, maybe have his family in there, or, caretaker, something along those lines. His goal was to build this house so he could stay as maybe one of them, that main floor.
does that complete your presentation? Thank you, Mr. McGreen, thank you. Let's start with Jim.
Just two things I'd like to get some clarity on, if I could. One was, I noticed on the plans, and this would be for staff, the elevation of 30 feet, 3/4 inches is to the top of the chimney. Looking at sheet A201. I just want to make sure. I'm sorry, is it A? Yeah.
To the top of the chimney, it's 30 feet, 4 3/4 of an inch.
So are we measuring the relief to the top of the chimney or to the ridge line of the roof?
Mr. Grundy, it would be to the ridge line of the roof, and staff can clarify with the zoning official prior to the zoning board to confirm that, but we did already clarify with him, and it's the average of all four corners, so that height variance is likely due to the steep drop-off
Okay, the
of that
steep
rear of the
drop-off.
lot. Yep.
Okay. And there was something unique that the attorney just said about ADUs, that this,
Right, so, at some point, we would have the right to convert perhaps the basement into an accessory dwelling unit. And that certainly could go towards the bar, as you would say. So that, you could have family members or perhaps caretaker, live in the house and live with occasional visits.
okay, so, I mean, looking at this lot, the practicality of a outsourced or outbuilding ADU would be difficult. So you have, the concept of an ADU within a structure is kind of unique. Makes, I kind of like it. All right, so the height variance is the average based upon the topography, I get that. The floor
Jim,
cover-
just a minute. It's my impression when I was listening to the discussion around the ADUs is that people always envision kind of doing an ADU within the same building, that you'd have what I'll say, another permanent family residence. So you're saying unique in a way that's a good thing or a bad thing? I'm just trying to understand.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's
I-
what,
you know, I'm-
that's
I'm-
what I thought you were trying to say, okay.
I'm just going on a little personal knowledge of my old neighborhood where one family is currently putting up an ADU, and the abutting neighbor, because it's a separate structure, isn't thrilled about it. The concept of during construction using it, if this area were identified as ADU space, then I believe council, I would agree with council that the space wouldn't count towards the FAR. Is that our council's opinion? Because then it kind of, if you identify the square footage in that lower area, it might not need the FAR relief. Mhm.
Go ahead, Jill. Jill?
So I want to confirm that I don't have the regulation off the top of my head that FAR does not apply for accessory dwelling units. Is that in the new law, Jack? It may not be a reason to deny, but does that mean, Mr. Levesque, that it's not counted? Now, we know it's not counted in basements and cellars, so if you were to put an ADU down there, it may not count, but other things would still count, like the number of bedrooms toward your parking and things like that. Okay, I just can't put my, my mental octopus on that right now, but I'll believe Mr. McGreen, and then I'll check.
That sounds like a
Regulation.
scary thing. A mental octopus sounds like a very scary thing, Jill. And Scott, you don't have a point of view on this, Scott? Jill's trying to kind of wrap her head around whether or not you can do an ADU in the way that Jack has described.
Well, I think we're talking about something that's not being asked for right now.
Right, exactly.
So it's not squarely before you. In the event he wants to add an ADU at some point in the future, he'll face whatever hurdles he faces. Who knows what the ordinance is going to look like then?
Okay, thank you. Good point.
No, I think the lot coverage and the hardscape relief are so intertwined that when you have one, you need the other. I know it's two separate reliefs, but in my mind, it's codependent.
Steve?
I had a question on what we're counting towards the FAR and what we're not. They just said that the attic space where they're going to put the mechanicals, we are counting. Is that accurate?
Mr. DeSimone, that calculation is done by the building official, so we could get an accurate breakdown of his math. However, we don't have that available to us now. I will note that I believe attics and unfinished spaces that have a ceiling height of anything over, under 7 feet wouldn't count. So, if the ceiling height in those rooms happens to be, above that, then they would count regardless of what they're being labeled as.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it would count regardless of its
so-
use.
I'm sure you could. There are other attic spaces labeled attic that have no access to them. So without knowing what he did, I apologize. Usually I sit down and actually do all the math myself. I was a little busy this week. I didn't get to it. I haven't figured your square footage as I would figure it, and I don't have his numbers. So I'm going to trust that he counted that room, all right? And if he counted that room because it's 7 feet, I'm going to say he's probably counting these other attic spaces. So you're probably under the FAR if you drop those ceilings. There's a lot of attic space in this house that I don't think should count towards the FAR because you can't even get into most of it. There's 400 square feet here that don't have a door. I mean, it doesn't have a door. So the FAR thing I'm fine with. I agree with Mr. Grundy that the lot coverage and the hardscape are inevitably tied on a lot of this size. I see what you're trying to do. It's a tight lot. And that's why you're here. So I don't have any other notes for you. I just, some clarification going to the zoning board about that would certainly be helpful.
Did you want to say something?
If you do have the full set, I think it's, one of the first pages does kind of have the diagram around what is included and, or what we had included and not included in the,
In the FAR?
I think, it should be, it's sheet G004. It's the zoning information. And so those kind of help
I
us
don't think we
and
have that
everyone
back.
navigate, yeah, hopefully.
We don't appear to have.
We didn't get that one, sorry.
Okay, okay.
Is that it, Steve?
That's all I've got.
Okay. Doc?
Yeah. Jack knows where I'm going, right? Mr. McGreen, that's right. Should be formal here. But first of all, your architectural plan and everything is very, very lovely. However, what you have is a small lot and a big house. And, you know, the 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound sack fits here. All these numbers, I mean, Steve is nice, he's trying to help you out a little bit here, but all these numbers, not even close, you know? Not even close. You know, height, hardscape, I mean, you can tell where I'm coming from. It's too big a house on too small a lot, and that's where I'm coming from.
Can I just unrelated to anything at all, there appears to be a very significant tree in the back here, in the photograph, in the overhead photograph and the stuff that we got. Is that tree currently there, or is it gone? It would be in the, as I'm looking at this, I'm not sure where north is.
Is it the landscape or the overhead?
It's the overhead. This one right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Is that tree gone now? I'm sorry, Jack. So this is a very significant tree right here. I don't see it on here. I'm just trying to figure out.
Is it on your, I don't have that picture.
You don't have it? Okay. So the tree's gone. Okay. And I guess I'm more sympathetic on this one to Doc's point of view. This is an awful lot of relief that's being sought. And I understand the building height issue from looking to the front elevation of the building. But if you're looking back at the building from from Bayberry Road, wouldn't that building look quite tall? That's, if you're looking at it from going uphill as opposed to looking at it off of the street on Treasure, wouldn't that look substantially taller?
I would note the building directly behind our site is actually I think the white cinder block building.
Mhm.
That's pretty square and reads as 3 stories. So I don't think it would actually, you know, architecturally read all that different than the one that's already on Bayberry. It would read, you know, as the elevation is shown here, as, you know, two stories plus a roof. You know, with the front reading as a single story with a roof. So yeah, that's.
And is that, and I'm just sorry, the way that lot lays out, it looks like it bridges 54 and 50. Is that correct?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So, and I appreciate the way this would look from at least that street. I think from looking at it from the other side, it would look like a quite substantial building from a neighbor's point of view. So, I have no other further comments other than what I've given you. So with that, if there's no further questions, and if you have nothing further at this point, Jack? Of course you do. Of course you do. That's okay.
So, when you say it's a substantial house, it really is a substantial house relative to the other houses in that neighborhood. If you look at the house just to the left on 137 Treasure, it's about the same
So just to that point, Jack, do you have do you have the data in terms of what the size of 137 and 147 and 50 and 54 and 46 versus what we're proposing?
Yeah, so, doesn't have the lot coverage on there. So I was just looking at the size of the numbers on the tax assessor sheet. Hold on, let me see, I might have that. I think I printed that out. Yeah, so on the tax assessor sheet, it gave, first floor 1472, porch open finish 675, upper story finish 390, cathedral ceiling, and then a porch 296. So all those added together, I came up with 3405.
And the proposed building coverage here is 4,000, right?
Say that one more time.
The proposed building lot coverage here is 4,016 square feet. Correct.
Yes.
Versus 34 next door.
No, the 3405, I was just talking about is floor area ratio. I don't know what the,
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what the building.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I understand the argument. I understand the argument. The argument would be more persuasive if the data was there to support it. But I mean, I understand making the argument. No, no.
Well, just the overview, if you just look at that's why I made a picture of took a picture of the overhead, just to show the relative sizes of I mean, we could probably drop your lot onto a picture to show the footprint of the building.
Mhm. That would be helpful. That would be helpful. Okay. When you're making the argument that this is not significantly different than what's already there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. If there's nothing further, I'll take a motion to make a determination whether the application is complete and in conformance with the comprehensive plan.
I would make a motion that the application is complete and in conformance with the comprehensive plan.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. 4-0. I'll take a motion now on the substance of the matter itself in terms of the application. Does anyone have a motion?
Sure. I would move this application go forward with a favorable recommendation, including all staff comments. And what do we got here? 16 points on page 405. Is that enough? Oh, yeah. And land policy use, LU 1.1 and LU 2.2. Thank you.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion beyond what we've had already? Okay, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. No.
Negative, yeah.
So it's a 2-2, so it does not move forward with a favorable recommendation. Or, that's right, or an unfavorable recommendation. That's absolutely true. Exactly. That's exactly right, Jack. So, okay, thank you very much. Yes. Who are the two, what? Doc and myself. Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Moving right along.
So under new business D1, we spoke last time briefly about the language in the zoning ordinance in terms of the authority of, the charter, in terms of the authority of the planning board and its role in reviewing and making a recommendation with respect to the SIP program. I think, Jill, you had some homework to do, and I know you've been chatting. I don't know whether it's finished, but why don't you bring us up to date with where we are?
So regarding the capital improvement program, I brought the language to the attention of the town manager and the finance director. We are still in discussions on how to go about handling that. The good news is the CIP does not happen for another couple of months, so by that point, we will have a better handle on how that is presented to you, to this board. Mr. Chairman, it would likely, if there's an opportunity for yourself or another member of this board you designate to attend and have that conversation as well. That may be good, but we still have a little bit of time, since it's August, to figure out how to move forward with this board reviewing the capital improvement program.
Clear as mud. Clear as mud. So I'd be happy to join any conversation with town staff that needs to be had. And again, my sense is, as I think Scott said last time, but that's what the language says. Some towns do it, some towns don't, but I have wondered whether or not, over the course of the last day or two, if the language in the ordinance says to do it, and you haven't done it, and if for some reason somebody had reason to found the SIP plan objectionable, whether or not that would provide a grounds for some potential litigation if you were supposed to take a step that you didn't take. I don't know, I'll leave that to Scott to mull on.
My guess is, since the statutory framework does not have a penalty provision, like many other requirements, and I'll give you an example, there was previously no penalty for not conforming your zoning ordinance to your comprehensive plan. So courts in that setting determined, because there was no penalty provision, nothing happens, okay? I think that's probably the situation here. Obviously, I would want to research that carefully to make sure that's the answer. But again, the statutory framework has no penalty provision. If it doesn't happen, it gets passed otherwise by the council, it's probably okay. Okay.
So it would be helpful, Scott, for in preparation for that meeting, if you think you want to take a closer look, just to be, you've got belt and suspenders on it, I'd like to have you do that, so we're ready for that. Thank you. Anything from any other member of the board on that issue? Okay. Town council letter of recommendation, amendments to the zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations. It's under a proposed draft, is under D2 in your packages. I presume everyone's had a chance to take a look at it. And this is structured as a memo to the board from, to the zoning board, excuse me, to the planning board from Jill. This is D2. That's the August 13th, 2026 memo. So it basically making the case of what's transpired, what the need for, why there would be a good and prudent reason to engage in a recodification of the ordinance, and as well take care of the zoning regulations to go with it. And the question is simply whether or not we forward this recommendation to the town council. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, so this board had previously discussed the idea of a recodification. Originally, it was for the zoning ordinance, as you know, and then a couple of months ago, we talked about wrapping in the subdivision regulations. We also talked about the timing with that, with the comprehensive plan, and that the comprehensive plan should be not wrapping up, but the majority of the work should be done by the spring. and how this might be sort of a good segue into that. In the meantime, I took a look, as you can tell, from 24, 25, and 26, and all the other ordinance changes that we did, not including the changes that came down from the state. So you've been very busy, by the way, and that's just with recommendations. So if this board is inclined, I would recommend that you take a look at the research that Ms. Iwas had done and presented to you last month, and have us, the staff, come back to you with an outline of what you might want to see, because it could be rolled into the capital improvement program, which you'll also be seeing in November. And then at that point, we can, if this board is inclined to put it in the capital improvement program, can't promise you it will stay there, but we can certainly put it in that. And all things being equal, it could become a capital improvement for the next fiscal year, so this next budget season. It's essentially, this budget is done. This year's budget is done. So we'd have to put it in for next year,
No,
which
I'm not-
would work with the comp plan.
Right. The fiscal year starts in July 1.
July 1.
Right, and I wasn't expecting, but the questions, so what you've outlined, how I understand it, is rather than sending a memo or recommendation to the town council, that this board, if it was so inclined to do so, agree to a scope, and that it would put into the SIP program for next year, and it would take its chances in terms of whether it got through the SIP recommendation process or not. Is that
Right,
how-
so
is
you
that how-
could
is
you
that-
could
is
do, you could do either. The CIP is the first thing that's done. It's done in the fall. It is, you take your chances. You could also, it's really up to the prerogative of this board if you want to put together a memorandum for the council to take a look at. I still would recommend that this board do a little more due diligence on what you want, an outline of what you think is going to be needed. And you do have a ballpark of some prices, so you could provide that to the council and give that as a recommendation to them, so that while they're considering the budget, they would have that information at their fingertips.
Okay. So I know where I'd like to end up on that, but I'd like to hear from other members of the board.
My preference would be to send them a complete package rather than something piecemeal. I think they probably have enough on their plate rather than deal with this as multiple components.
Agree.
So there you have it. You got more work to do.
Thank you.
Is it reasonable to have a draft of a complete package by when? For this board to consider, and at the same time, do it in a way that we're going to be, we do not forego the opportunity to be in the SIP project planning process for next year.
Thursday?
Thursday's a good time. Well, Thursday would be good, but I have a feeling there might be one or two other things on the agenda. Should we expect this next month or the following month?
How about I tell you September, but what I'd like to do is to confirm when the CIP comes out, because if it comes out, I'd have to check with the finance director, essentially. And if I and other department heads have to have their information, let's say by October 15th, then the October meeting is too late for you. So I'm going to aim high, and we're going to say September, and I'll have something for you in September. Will it be a fully baked cake if I can move it to October? If you'll allow me that grace, that would be great. If you want a fully baked cake in September, you will have one.
I only want a fully baked cake in September if we need one to be
Okay.
fully baked in September.
Perfect.
How's that sound?
That sounds great. Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
Okay. E1, rules of procedure. I don't have an E1.
So Mr. Levesque just reminded me, he actually gave me a couple of changes, so I was remiss on that, and I will have those, I will provide those with our staff, and we'll have those to you for next month, which I believe, Ms. Petro, we have to, I think actually, Mr. Levesque, one of the questions was the advertising and how we needed to do that. So we can work that out. I believe it may need to be noticed one more time in advance. So this includes a notification, and so did the last 4 times, I believe.
So we'll move this one to next month's agenda. Okay, thank you. Okay, planning board liaison updates. It's coastal access. Rupert's not here. There is no report from Rupert. Land Conservancy Trust, Steve?
All right, I just wanted to make sure I got the date right. Gansett Days is next month on the 19th. We'll be walking the trails at Sunset Farm and the other trail that I keep forgetting the name of. Was that the Gansett Loop? Thank you. Other than that, I don't think I have any major updates from last month, except that if anybody's watching at home and they'd be interested in a community garden at Sunset Farm, keep your eyes and ears open, because we're going to be trying to roll something out and get a list together. I think that's all I've got, unless Jill has anything else to remind me of. All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay, legislative updates on both the zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations.
So I can provide you a quick little update. Item F2 in your book is a synopsis of what the Rhode Island Division of Statewide Planning felt was the most important legislation that had passed, and their findings based off of those bills and what they entail. We've received a couple of different reports. I believe you received one from the League of Cities and Towns maybe a month ago as well. And staff is reviewing it. I have drafted a chart similar to the 2025 update that provides a breakdown similar to all of the bills and their actions, whether or not they are required changes to our zoning ordinance and our subdivision regs, and where I felt changes would be needed in our zoning ordinance in those exact sections. That has been handed off to Mr. Levesque, and we're awaiting comment. So when I do, I will provide that. Once I get the A-OK, I will provide that to the board, hopefully in the next meeting or two.
Mr. Chairman, did you want to, I think we discussed this at the last meeting, did you want to pull together the subcommittee? I'm trying to recall who was in the subcommittee. Was it yourself and Mr. Friday?
There were 2 subcommittees, one that was doing subdivision regs and one that was doing, and I was on both, and Rupert was on one, and Mark was on the other. And I think Mark and I had subdivision regs, and Rupert and I had the other side.
Okay.
So which subcommittee would you like us to pull?
Well,
pull together?
did you want to continue those subcommittees? You can replace, and I don't know if we can do it today.
I don't want to, I think what would be helpful is if we had a draft in front of us that had been reviewed by council before we met, rather than looking at language that had been adopted and seeing where it fit into the existing framework. I'd rather have Scott undertake that work for us. I think we talked about that last time, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong. But it makes more sense to me for that to happen with somebody who's familiar with legislative drafting and the subdivision regulations as well, rather than for us trying to mirror that if we're trying to do it ourselves. Does that make sense, Scott?
So sorry, Mr. Chairman, I think I missed part of that. Is the directive for me to try to capture the changes to the new law and get it into our subdivision regulations?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I can certainly do that.
Subdivision regs and Is there anything that needs to be changed for the zoning ordinance as well?
Likely.
Yeah, so both sides got it.
Okay.
And there's a backup here. Am I correct? There's still work to be done from 2025 and 2024. So it's not just 2026, go ahead, Jill.
Yep.
No, there's work to be done that has been painfully hard to get done until now. So I would simply say the scope goes to whatever has not been incorporated over the course of the last 2 or 3 sessions, that we get that all rolled up and do it at one time. Jill, were you going to say something?
I was just going to let Mr. Levesque know that we have a working draft of the subdivision regulations and the zoning ordinance regulations, so we're not starting from scratch.
Perfect.
Oops, excuse me. Okay, comp plan update, Jill?
We have our first stakeholder meeting happening on Monday, the 25th. It's a virtual meeting, and we pulled together a few stakeholders specifically for historical, cultural, and scenic resources. If there's anyone who may be listening right now who would be interested in being a stakeholder specifically for historical, cultural, or scenic resources, please feel free to contact our office, and we will get you included in on that virtual meeting. That being said, that does not stop anyone at any time during this process of commenting on any portion of the plan. So if they miss it or otherwise can't attend, they can certainly comment on it when it comes back to you at your next meeting, which is, I believe it's September 10th. Is that right?
Special meeting for the comp plan?
Yeah, I believe it's either September 3rd or September 10th.
September 10th, 6 p.m.
Thank you. So we'll be going over that. We'll be going over the stakeholder information there, and we'll also be introducing housing. If you were listening at all last night to the town council meeting, the town manager also put out a call for stakeholders who may be interested in participating in the housing element and the land use element, which are both coming up next, and both of those meetings will be in person. So if there's anyone out there, and frankly, all of the elements, if anyone is interested in looking at the schedule at all, it's on the town's website, on the community development page under comprehensive plan update. We do have a schedule posted up there with all of the dates for the stakeholder meetings. If they're interested in one of those, please contact us, or if they're interested in coming to one of the planning board meetings that you all have graciously agreed to do, the special meetings.
So remind me, the September 10th meeting is going to be done under the auspices of the planning board?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It's a
okay,
planning
it's-
board
right,
meeting,
it's a planning
so
board
we'll be going over the results and and the feedback that we get from the consultant for the stakeholder meeting for historical, cultural, and scenic resources. And then they're going to introduce housing, because frankly, because I believe it's important. Housing and land use in particular may take more than one meeting with you folks. You know, you might want to talk about it a little bit and then give the consultant some direction before they have their stakeholder meeting, and then they're going to come back and present to you again. Both housing and land use have that sort of 1.5 meeting set up.
Okay. Thank you. Unless someone's got something further on the comp plan, you want to confirm a quorum for September 15th? Is that what you, Jill, Heidi, you want to confirm a quorum for September 15th? Yeah, I'm going to be here. I think everyone's going to be here?
I'll be here.
Yes.
Okay, and obviously, we can't speak for Rupert, but I presume he'll be here. Okay? And last but not least, we have a petition for text amendment for Boone Street Special Planning District.
Yes, so this came in late last week, hence the amendment to your agenda, which was already posted. But I wanted to get it to you because it does have a time frame associated with it. So it's been provided to you. There is a possible action on here. Mr. Levesque, I'm not sure if this board needs to make a formal motion to move it to the town council, and if so, I can put that on their September 8th agenda, which still will allow them the requisite time to notify and open a public hearing.
They do need to make a formal, sorry, they do need to make a formal motion.
So I just, procedurally, this got referred to us. We're going to refer it to the town council. They're going to refer it back to us? Or do we, when we refer to the town council, do we refer with a recommendation?
No, so this was submitted, I think, to the clerk for the town council, and it was disseminated immediately to the planning board
Yes.
from there? Okay. So in this instance, you are going to make your findings and recommendations to the council, and you can bypass a further recommendation, a further referral back to the planning board.
So when we send this forward to the town council, it will be with the recommendation?
Yes.
And what's the time frame that we have to do that within?
So,
45 days?
no, 65 days. So if I may, Mr. Levesque, you tell me if I'm wrong, okay? I have it right now scheduled as an agenda item, potentially as a referral, as it's a requirement to refer to the town council, and then a scheduling of a public hearing, because the town council needs to have a minimum of 3 weeks for their own advertising time. And because this came in such a time frame that we couldn't get it on to last night's agenda, the earliest agenda that I can put it on the council meeting is September 8th. Doing so, you will not have your recommendation then, because your meeting doesn't happen until the 15th. So that being said, your recommendation will be done prior to the scheduling of their public hearing, which, if the time frame works out and the council accepts the time frame, would be October 5th.
Okay.
Will that work, Mr. Levesque?
Yeah, and just to clarify, the statute specifically says that you have to report to the council within 45 days after receipt of the proposal,
And it will be.
giving your findings and recommendations. As long as that is true, you're okay.
It will be within 45 days for this board and 65 days for the council, doing the math.
Thank you. And I haven't had a chance to take a close look at this since it just came in. I don't know, Scott, if you have, or staff has had a chance to take a look at it. If not, we won't talk about it now. Okay. I think that's the end of the agenda. Is there any further business to come before the board? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second?